Our Best Guess is not an educational podcast, so don't take it as one. This is an improvisational comedy podcast, and though occasionally we may say some factual truths, it's probably best you take it with a grain of salt. Well, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else in between.
And themtlemen.
We're back. And themtlemen, yes. Ladies, gentlemen, themtlemen, and everybody else.
Hello.
We're back and hungry for more. So welcome to Our Best Guess, a podcast where we try to answer all of your questions.
And we mean all of your questions, even stupid ones like, who is Amelia Earhart? Or what is the egg theory of life? Because apparently our answer wasn't good enough the first time.
Well, because whoever said there are no stupid questions was wrong. You people have proven that to be very wrong. There are some stupid questions. Well, I'm one host, Wylie White.
And I'm two host, Parker Payne. Despite how idiotic your questions may be, we are here to answer them.
And give it our best guess. Yes. Well, it's been a while. We've had a lot of life between the two of us happen since our last...
Yeah, including...
Yes.
Both of us got married.
We both have wives now. Crazy.
It feels like it's been a year, and it has been a year-ish.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do think the last episode was recorded in April.
I was going to say, maybe that's what we should do for our next themed episode, wedding questions, because obviously, as two people who have been through weddings ourselves, we are now obviously experts on these.
Oh, yeah. Some would say that we're suddenly experts, but that's a different podcast.
From a different time.
From a different time.
From a different time. So why don't we get back into it, kind of get into... Wow, it's been so long. I kind of forgot how we did things.
Yeah, I think, so if I remember the format correctly, it's two questions and then a little special little something and then two more questions. But we could also do 3 questions per segment. I don't know.
I was gonna say I thought it was 3, the drop down, then 3 more.
Oh, you spoiled it. I was trying to, in case this is your first episode for some reason.
No, I mean, we'll figure it out. So we did ask people who listen to this podcast to send us, people who listen and our friends to send us some questions that we can answer on this podcast. So do we want to stop? No, we're not going to stop right now. We're going to start at the top of our list, I think is a very good place to start.
Amazing. We're just going to start at the top of the list? That sounds like, that's great.
Yeah. All right, so... Do you want to end? I know we've been so out of practice. We don't know who starts and who follows.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll sound so great when I cut everything from this opening segment, unless I don't. In which case,
I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna say here just to give you a nice little starting point here. Well, let's dive back into it. And start at the top of our list of questions that we've received with Savannah's question of what would be the length of 2 parrots if you used a pear as the measuring system?
This feels pretty scientific, and I'm not really much of a scientist.
Really?
However, I would think based on the size of a pear and the size of a parrot, it would be like 1.5 pairs.
For 2 parrots?
For 2 parrots, then it's like 3 pairs.
Yeah, it's 2 parrots. It's 3 pairs? Well, here's what I'm thinking. Because I've seen a lot of parrots over at PetSmart, and it's like they vary in size. We didn't get a specification of size, so if we average out the rough size of parrots, I actually think it would come roughly to the size of a single pair. And they're phonetically similar. Pear and parrots. So maybe we could just use the term parrot as its own measurement and say that 2 parrots are 1 parrot.
Now, that is interesting. Counterpoint, I think a parrot is a measuring equivalent to 2 parrots. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I am in agreement with you. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying one parrot is one parrot, like there's a 1-to-1 ratio, but like a pair is the length of one pair, and a parrot is the length of two pairs.
Precisely.
Great.
The circular thinking got you back to the same destination.
Yeah, I'm definitely Professor Laytoning myself out of this one.
Yeah, but you got there in the end. I mean, you only lost like 1 or 2 Picaret points.
I lost more
Nothing
than
major.
that.
No, it's only 1 or 2. Don't.
Would you count that question as answered?
Okay, so what would be the length? Okay, so the answer to the what would be the length of 2 parrots would be
one
parrot. Yes, there we go.
I like that answer.
I think that's fun.
And so if ever you are measuring something and it is 2 parrots length, just say that's a parrot.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next
feel
question.
like I'm doing mental gymnastics just to try to figure out my own joke here.
I feel like we're really doing like a who's on third kind of joke here.
Kind of.
Like a who's on first, not who's on third.
Yeah.
I don't know's on third.
I don't know who's on third. There we go. Do you want to sling us into our next question?
Yeah, absolutely. In what year was the Silmarillion published? This was sent in by Augie.
All right, thank you, Augie. This is a question near and dear to nerds' hearts all around the world because I only recognize this because our university did The Hobbit, and I got a really good presentation from our dramaturg about kind of all the different books. So I know what it is, and I kind of know what it entails, but I have not read it.
Same here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do my best guess on Tolkien, like date-wise.
If it's in what year was the Silmarillion published is the question. So I just have to verbalize it in my mind to sort of answer it because I do know the answer. And it's the year of our Lord 2002.
It came out right alongside the Shrek DVD.
Yes, correct. It came out right after. Oh, I was trying to reference a Disney movie. I don't actually know when all the Disney movies were released.
I cannot remember. 2002, I was 1.
Yeah.
That was a singular year of age.
Yeah, because was released in 2001, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that joke.
Well, the thing about I'm thinking about this, and I want to say it's actually a trick question because of popularity with it. It's republished every year. I mean, same author, but I mean they have to like It's not like they're publishing the same style of book. So
yeah,
it's every year since it was finished and released,
which is 2002.
Yes. So I mean, any years from 2002 to present day. Is a correct answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds about right.
Now we've gotten a lot of questions, or at least we've been answering a lot of questions this time that are more concrete. But I think our next question should be something that's a little more free form. Do you have an idea on what kind of question would fit that, Bill?
I feel like there is one that was sent in by Sam that will provide us with at least a good bit of discussion and maybe some debate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Sam sends in the question, what's the best pasta? And I think we should judge this. I'm trying to think of the categories we need to like think of.
The metric?
No, well, what do you mean by that?
Like what's the metric we're judging the pastas off of?
Yes. Kind of the categories of how well does it hold sauce, because usually sauce and pasta is basically just a 1-2. It's usually always with pasta. I guess potentially ease of making if you're making it by yourself, or cook time potentially, because I know a bunch of different pastas have different cook times too.
It could also maybe mouthfeel is a category.
Yeah. Because you don't want like an obscenely large piece of pasta that you have to continuously cut. Like I'm all for like a good piece of ravioli, but if it's too large and I have to like keep cutting it into smaller portions so I don't choke, it kind of takes me out of the experience.
Yeah, I'm a one bite ravioli kind of guy. So
Chef Boyardee has nailed it.
well,
Have you never had ravioli from Chef Boyardee?
actually no. And this is kind of a hot take on my end. I don't really like tomato sauce that much.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't judge you for that. I have a sensitivity to tomatoes. The acidity kind of messes up my stomach and I feel terrible for the rest of the day, but sometimes the red sauce is worth it.
Yeah, for me, my mom actually is allergic to tomatoes, so I have avoided tomatoes in just because of the affiliation.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to, after the kind of the categories that we have set for ourselves, I think I'm going to have to knock out I'm knocking out bow tie pasta because they are fun. They are absolutely fun. They are lovely to look at, but they do not hold sauce very well because it's basically just a flat piece.
Yeah, it just it tends to separate itself from the sauce. Like if you're doing like let's just use tomato sauce as sort of the
or
baseline.
Alfredo. Why don't we just do Alfredo?
You're right.
Yeah.
Because we both don't really like tomato sauce. Alfredo is the metric, or is the
There we go. Alfredo is our
what's that scientific term?
our baseline.
No, our I'll think of it later. Our just
control group?
Control. Yes.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like macaroni is definitely up there.
Agreed.
For not only ease of cooking, the only thing that I guess it would be docked points on is if you wanted to make it yourself.
I don't. How do you? Well, I guess you'd like roll it into a tube and then cut it after that.
Or you just feed your pasta dough through like a pasta shaper if you have that attachment for like a KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah. I'm going to also knock out penne pasta.
Why? I like the tubes.
Same reason as the bow tie, actually. I don't think they hold sauce very well, and when you do get sauce in them, there's too much sauce in the tube of the pasta.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you like slurping your pasta sauce like it's a drink from a restaurant, like all power to you. Use your penne pasta. But if you want like an even spread of the flavoring, then I think it's not for you.
Is it penne that's just the straight tubes that have no like ridge on the outside, and then rigatoni is the ridged one? I am drawing a blank on kind of the actual shapes of pastas.
Because
there is a tube that has kind of ridges on the outside, and that grabs sauce very well.
If that's penne, then I will give it more credit, but I think the penne I'm thinking of is the more like almost like a straightened macaroni tube.
Yeah, just the smooth tube.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's just kind of a silly choice for like either commit to macaroni or use a different.
I get where you're coming from. So, oh gosh. I actually do think I think I know the best pasta.
Okay, sure, go for it.
Tortellini. Not only can you have stuff that's inside of it, you can have like a cheese or even sometimes like small chopped up vegetables in it. But the way it's kind of curved and tied together provides a very a lot of little pockets that sauce can stick into. Would be easy to make, boils ridiculously quickly, and is just an overall great addition to the pasta family.
That's fascinating to me because I never really, and I know like it is technically in the food category of pasta, but tortellini to me is like its own experience. So it feels like it almost has too much of an advantage, like because it's like it's usually filled with something already.
Okay.
Like, does it count? Because to me, pasta, I think, is just the noodle itself and not like with any extra, because otherwise I'd be like gnocchi or like, well, actually no, gnocchi is,
Gnocchi would technically categorize as a pasta.
yeah, never mind. I don't.
It's potato pasta.
Ravioli.
Surprisingly easy to make. Yeah, ravioli.
Yeah.
Man.
I think, is it boring to say spaghetti?
I feel like I feel like fettuccine would have an advantage over spaghetti because it has more surface area.
Egg noodles? Because there's also like ramen noodles and then soba noodles, and we've like a whole like Asian category that.
Yeah.
But is that pasta, or is pasta specifically Italian?
I feel like we're making too many subcategories for this question.
Savannah, not Savannah. Sam, you've blown our minds, and you've opened my mind to how much pasta can be categorized.
I am thinking way too much about just general shapes of pasta and what would be considered a good type of pasta.
Because like it's all for different scenarios. Like if I'm making macaroni and cheese, I use macaroni. If I'm making spaghetti and meatballs, I use spaghetti. There's not like a universal pasta.
Oh my gosh. So then if we know that everything is situational, I think we just have to choose on base of just what we like and what's the most potential like memorable or
then I think I probably will say macaroni. Because
I was just about to say macaroni too.
It's been a strong contender this whole time.
It has been.
I think there's something that draws us back to it. You know, it's fun. It reminds you of your childhood. Macaroni and cheese is arguably the best pasta dish.
Yeah, I mean, because pretty much everything that is a pasta dish with cheese is macaroni and cheese to an extent.
Yeah, fettuccine Alfredo, macaroni and cheese.
Mac and cheese, yeah. I was going to say Kraft mac and cheese. I think they still do shapes. But goodness, I hope they still do shapes.
Why would they not do shapes? I mean, it's objectively worse that way. I like the normal version.
I do like the normal version too, but every so often it was nice to look down and see SpongeBob in my bowl.
What on earth did Velveeta have going on with those like weird clamshell noodles?
The shell pasta? I was gonna say those are good. I like those, but they do not cook evenly ever for me.
You either overcook them or undercook them.
Well, it's like even when I think I've got a perfect bowl, there's this one that I bite down upon. It feels like I'm going to chip a tooth.
So are we agreeing macaroni?
I think we are agree. Yeah. The best pasta, macaroni.
Macaroni. Easy. Only took us 15 minutes.
Only took us 15 minutes. Thank you, Sam. We're going to take a little bit of a break and mentally decompress for that as we head on into the drop down.
That's the song.
15 minutes on noodles? So welcome into the drop down. So this is the little segment in between our main sections of questions from listeners that they send in, where we go to a major search engine and we type in the start of a question and a letter. And then there's a little drop-down menu for questions that people have already asked these search engines, and we will try to give them our best guess. So today, our start of a question is the simple, do I? And then our letter of choice is the letter Y. And the interesting thing about this one is there's a couple of them that actually do not immediately start with Y. But it's an interesting balance.
Interesting. So it's not even the search engine's not even respecting our our search engine search.
You can say it's Google. I mean, we can choose Yahoo next time.
That's true. Maybe we'll get different results.
Mm-hmm. So I want to go with the first one, like immediately off the top of this one.
Okay.
And the question that somebody has typed into the void is the following. Do I YouTube?
If I think this is the CEO of YouTube that has submitted this question, and is asking if the complicated nature of his existence is to be YouTube or to verb YouTube.
Okay. The way I interpret this one is somebody asking do I start this journey of making a YouTube channel, of doing, of do I YouTube? Do I YouTube? Do we YouTube? That's always, that is a question, because it's the matter of, do you want to share what you have, or do you want to have a little bit more of a kind of a privacy to it and just a passion for your hobbies as they exist? Because turning a hobby or something that you're passionate about into essentially another job can really ruin the experience.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing with creators that I listen to a lot of the time, is that they're like, it's hard to separate what I do for work and the thing that I was initially passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think if you're the CEO of YouTube, yeah, of course it would be a little complicated. Like, I'm passionate about YouTube. I'm really on this, aren't I?
Yeah. But it's like, with your kind of take of that, is maybe it is the CEO of YouTube wondering, do I YouTube? And this CEO wondering if they should start putting stuff on the platform themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
but does that become a conflict of interest? Is making sure that, your stuff does better on the platform while neglecting the platform itself?
I mean, this is actually a question that's already been answered, because YouTube does have a YouTube channel. Weirdly enough, it was the place that hosted all of those 2012 in review videos, or like a year in review.
They stopped. When did they stop doing those?
When Will Smith said, "It's rewind time," is when they stopped doing that.
Oh,
that's hot.
Okay.
That was the last one.
When was that? Was that like 2018?
That sounds right. Maybe.
That's crazy.
Because it was before COVID for sure.
Yes. So at the very latest, kind of that 2019 era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
crazy.
I think the answer to the question, do I YouTube, is if you want.
If you want, but note how it's making you feel. Because if it's taking the joy out of your hobbies or the things you like to do, just stop. I mean, your overall enjoyment of a hobby is way more important than potentially having thousands of people watch that.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to be viewed by millions of people to know that what you're doing with your life is valid.
Yeah. And now our second drop-down question, to leave that on a very moral high cliff there.
Yeah, we're so philosophical on this podcast.
Do I tip furniture delivery?
Do I tip furniture delivery?
Correct. Do you tip furniture delivery? I feel like this is also kind of dependent on how much furniture you had delivered. Do they move it into your house like fully and kind of help either install it or put it together? Because if they just leave it on your doorstep, I'm not tipping you. If you get it into my house and actually, kind of offer to help put it together and bring it into the room, or at least maybe even offer to bring it into the room where it's going to be. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think is generally something that I've been taught to do, in a sense of almost like guilt for oh, you completed this task for me and I already paid you, but I want you to know that you are special, kind of thing. So yeah. I would tip, but I also...
It probably wouldn't be a lot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean... it feels like that is a full-time job, and it's not like it's in the service industry where it's almost dependent on tips. It might just be kind of like a, hey, thank you for helping me out, and especially doing all of this. Here's $5. It's a warm day. Go get yourself like a soda that you want or something.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're like, we made lemonade. Would you like a glass of lemonade for your hard work?
Yeah. Though I will have to say, though, if... what piece of furniture do you think would absolutely need a tip?
A piano
for delivery? Yes. Okay. That is. I was thinking a pool table.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess you can deconstruct a pool table, but you can't really deconstruct
You can't
a
really
piano.
deconstruct a piano. No, you cannot. Yeah. So I feel like it's optional unless it's a piano.
That's a good answer. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And I think if you're a furniture mover, if you're a professional furniture mover, move more pianos. You'll get more tips.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do we want to do a third one?
I have a third one if we'd like to do one.
Alrighty.
Do I? Yes, you do.
Okay, I really have to process this one because I'm only hearing this audibly.
Yes. Do I? Yes, you do.
Doesn't the question answer itself? Does
it?
It's like someone interrupted, like a do I, and then the other person's yes, you do. Is what that sounds like. I think we found the world's first already answered question.
I'd like to think that this was typed in there, but they answered their own question in their head before they hit enter, so their mind just typed it out so they could visualize it.
Isn't auto search terms doesn't that come from people searching something multiple times? So that must mean that multiple people, unless it's the same guy, searched do I yes you do.
Oh no. The implications of it being the same guy is terrible.
I don't know what's worse, if multiple people had this weird brain fart or the same guy.
Because if it's the same guy, then it's just the instant reminder. Do I? Yes, you do. Do you have short-term memory loss? What is going on here?
That's so funny. Is it a goldfish? A goldfish searched this with a 3-second memory.
Oh, no, this is the fish who plays Pokemon and trades stocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
there
it is.
We go.
We figured it out.
That's what it is. That's... well, goldfish who plays Pokemon and trades stocks. Do you? Yes, you do.
Well, actually, I have a different answer.
You have a different answer?
Yeah. To answer the question, do you? Yes, you do. You must answer with yes, you do. Do you? Yes, you do. You do. You yes do. You yes do.
Do you want to take a quick break to?
And that's the drop down. You do. You do. You yes. All right. So our next question, from the wonderful audience members that we have, is from Ian.
Yes.
Why hasn't the U.S. switched to the obviously superior metric system?
Well, there is it's more of a battlefront with a demon. There's a demon of Lord Imperius, and he's forcing the entire United States to use the imperial system. Battle's been going on for years, centuries at this point, because we all know that the metric system is just better because increments of 100 make so much more sense than anything else. But sometimes it's a little hard to get rid of a demon. That's just what goes on.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that the other countries don't really know about, actually, because we being on the Imperium side of things, not by our choice, and you guys being on the Matriculus side of things, it's a little, I mean, war is complicated.
Yeah.
So to say that each side, or there is one correct side, is to say that I like feet. I think it's funny that our way of measuring things is to say feet.
I'm going to love just having the out of context audio clip of you saying I like feet. Just that's like a full clip I just get now for free.
Well, it's true. I do like
Parker.
feet. I stand by that as the because like we have feet, we have yards, we have inches, and I think it's fun. You know, we're just like a little different.
Yeah.
Metric goes in systems of 10. Imperial. What is it? Is it imperial?
I think it is. I think that's the correct term for it. I could be wrong. Who knows? Not me.
Yeah, who knows? Who cares? We're Americans.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Also, centimeters is kind of a weird way. Like, we'd have to change the way we measure things.
Yeah,
I think is the biggest issue. Because inches is just such like everyone knows what a foot is.
I mean, if we just started teaching it in the schools and then just hoped that we adjusted accordingly. I mean, they stopped teaching how to read an analog clock, and I think the kids are doing okay-ish.
Fair enough. They also stopped teaching cursive for some reason.
I had a hard time reading that, and I wrote it, so...
That's fair. I personally like cursive, especially to like write your own name.
Oh, it looks
like so you have a signature.
so pretty. It looks phenomenal.
Yeah, but then you have like your grandma sending you a letter in cursive, and you're like, I'm sure there are many wonderful things that are being said in this.
I'm pretty good at reading my grandmother's cursive. Every so often I do have to like send a picture to my mom and ask her what this one is, but overall I think I have a pretty good... It's like I've been trained for that specific type of cursive, because that's the other thing is each person has their own individual version of cursive.
That's interesting because you just said that you couldn't read your own cursive?
Yeah, no, back in the day I'd write everything down because I took my like little notes in elementary school and we learned it. And then I'd go back like a couple days later and I'm like, what did I write? Because I kind of wrote it in a haste.
That's fair. So you think your grandma had better cursive than you?
Yes.
Well, cool. We're still talking about the metric system.
That was quite we've kind of gone off a side road on this one. I was going to say, ask the Demon Hunter front on that one, because it is obviously superior, but, man.
Yeah, I would say, I think we should stay with what we got because it's too hard to shift to something different.
Just about.
Would you like to pick our next question?
I would love to pick our next question. Let me see here. Oh, yes. This question comes in from listener Krister. Why did ancient people bury so many buildings?
That's a great question. I'm sure many archaeologists actually have been wondering the same thing. Indiana Jones, there was actually a cut scene in Indiana Jones' Kingdom of the Crystal Skull where Harrison Ford is like, I don't understand why people didn't just leave their buildings above ground. It doesn't make any sense. Did people used to breathe dirt?
Maybe they did.
So I'm with him on that.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I was going to say, does that mean there might still be like a group of mole people out there in a civilization that's just under the ground?
Well, it would explain why we didn't meet them if they breathe dirt.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we can't breathe dirt.
No. At least I don't think. I haven't tried.
I'm not going to try. I will on occasion, if I'm eating a cracker, I'll inhale too sharply and then I start having a coughing fit. So I don't think I'm cut out for underground life.
Well, that's not dirt, is it, Wylie?
Oh, you're right. That's cracker. I don't breathe.
It's
okay,
cracker.
Well, so what I've learned is that I can't breathe cracker, but there's a possibility that I could breathe dirt.
And that's the answer to the question. Ancient people buried so many buildings because they could breathe dirt, but not cracker.
Correct. Do we want to do like one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and... Would you do us the honor of picking our last question for this episode, Parker?
Yeah. I'm going to try and pick one that isn't too long.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick, obviously, the most complicated question here. Do the lions beat the Pokemon?
No, they do not. And for one reason and one reason alone. Magcargo. Magcargo is a lava slug whose internal body temperature is 3 times hotter than our sun's. So it has a move called Supernova that would basically just nuke the entire area. Yeah.
Counter argument. So that's assuming that the battle takes place in our human universe. In the Pokemon universe, when you use a move like Supernova, the world does not, in fact, collapse. Also, just throwing Magcargo out there doesn't make the universe just explode. So I think it's scaled down a little bit if the battle took place in the Pokemon universe. So which makes the battle a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
Though the Pokemon do still have the Pokemon God on their side.
Not only that, isn't there a couple Pokemon that even if the lions took out a lot of the Pokemon, they just get stronger based on how many of their allies have fallen?
That is good point. There's also Wobbuffet, which bounces back all of the damage done to it onto what it's like a punching bag, basically.
Yeah, well, I know. Okay, so here's the dealio. I know 1 billion is incredible.
Yeah, that's an insane amount.
It's an insane amount of anything, especially lions.
And there's, what, 800 Pokemon?
Are we just doing all the Pokemon or the original 151?
If it's just the original 151, I think the Pokemon lose.
I feel like if it's just the original 151, the Pokemon might lose just because of getting overwhelmed by sheer number. But if it's all of the Pokemon, especially nowadays, there are way too many gimmicks for the lions to even have a chance.
I think we're also not factoring in, like, the exhaustion of the Pokemon, because they have to do, like, a lot of work comparatively to the lions. Because the lions are literally the benefit of the lions in this case is I suppose we haven't even actually stated what the actual question this is referencing is. It's, would 1 billion lions win against all of the Pokemon?
Can't Gardevoir create black holes too?
Yes, but again, if it's in the Pokemon universe, clearly the black holes don't do that much.
I like how you said, yeah, I'll just, pick one of the more like discussion heavy ones as our last one.
I like longer podcast episodes. 45 minutes I feel like is a good.
Wait. Counter argument. It ends in a draw.
Okay.
No one wins. No one. I don't know.
Wiley's like, I've run the calculations in my brain. I know the simulations. I could sense that it would always end in a draw.
The quickest way to win the game is to not play at all.
Good point. So to answer your question, this is a stupid question. It always ends in a draw.
Yes.
Well, thank you for listening to our best guess. This has certainly been another episode.
Indeed it has. Well, join us next time. We will be posting on our social media pages about when we'll be taking questions to put into our little question document that we pull from for these episodes. I feel like we should have I think what I'd like to be able to do is every other episode that we do is just like an amass of all questions, and then the next one will be a themed one. So I think next time we should do a themed one, and then the one after that will just be any and all questions.
Absolutely. Though I will say, every time that we say we're going to do a theme for one episode, we either forget or the people who ask questions do not ask questions according to the theme.
I guess, we'll do this. We'll say, if you can think of a question, I think we should go with the wedding topic that we started at the episode. If you have wedding questions, submit them to us, and then also just submit any other questions you have to us. Because worst case scenario, we just make an episode about anything and everything.
Yeah. In case you're getting married soon, we'll call the next episode something like Wylie and Parker Plan a Wedding or something.
Oh, okay.
For whom the bell tolls.
All right. Well, Parker, where can they find us on our socials?
Well, you can find us on Instagram at the.mid.men. Or you can find us on YouTube at The Midmen. Currently, it is just another place to house this podcast. So you might be there right now.
Wow.
Well, thanks for listening to this episode. We love you guys.
Greatly appreciated, and we will see you the next time we record.
Agreed. Bye.